Senior U.S. military officials informed the leadership of a key U.S. ally in the Middle East that U.S. President Donald Trump may authorize a U.S. attack on Iran this weekend, Drop Site News reported, citing multiple sources confirming the information. The strikes could begin as early as Sunday if the United States decides to do so, American officials told their ally. This isn't about nuclear weapons or a missile program. This is about regime change, said a former senior U.S. intelligence official who advises Arab governments and is an unofficial advisor to the Trump administration on Middle East policy. He told Drop Site that U.S. military planners are planning attacks against nuclear, ballistic missile, and other military facilities throughout Iran, but will also seek to decapitate the Iranian government and, in particular, the leadership of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to a source, the Trump administration believes a successful strike against the Iranian leadership will bring Iranians back to the streets in protest, leading to the overthrow of the government. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is hoping for an attack, said a former senior intelligence official, and that Israel will help install a new government friendly to the West. Two senior Arab intelligence officials told Drop Site they had received information about a possible, imminent, attack by the U.S. Chief of Staff of the Israel Defense Forces, Eyal Zamir said that U.S. attack on Iran is inevitable. The Israeli military believes that the United States needs time to send additional bombers and warships to the Middle East, and that negotiations with Iran will not yield results. According to the Israeli military's assessment, the U.S. will give Iran hours or days of warning before a possible military strike. At the same time, it is emphasized that Washington is preparing to attract additional military forces to the region. Against this background, high-ranking Israeli officials are holding talks in the United States to coordinate before the attack. The head of Israel's military intelligence, General Shlomi Binder, presented a list of targets Israel has identified in Iran to its American partners. Meanwhile, the U.S. has deployed a destroyer armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles to the port of Eilat. According to the Israeli military, negotiations with Tehran will not yield any results. Recently, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a security meeting, including on Iran. The Iranian side, however, has stepped up its rhetoric. A senior Iranian official said that even a limited U.S. attack would be met with a response against Israel. Meanwhile, Tehran is trying to lay the groundwork for talks to prevent an attack. The New York Times reports that President Trump has been presented with various attack scenarios against Iran. These options include limited operations by U.S. special forces into Iranian territory. According to the report, these operations would target key strategic targets, such as nuclear facilities that were not damaged in the previous 12-day war. The newspaper notes that Trump is considering a strategy against Iran similar to his approach to Venezuela and is also discussing measures against high-ranking political figures. According to sources in the U.S. administration, Israel is insisting on another option, launching a joint operation against Iran's ballistic missile program. The Wall Street Journal writes that President Trump has been presented with two main attack options. The first option is large-scale and involves a large-scale bombing of the headquarters of the Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as buildings associated with the Iranian government. The second option is limited in nature and involves precision strikes or cyber attacks on objects that have not been hit in previous operations, including targets of symbolic importance to the regime. The limited option aims to leave Iran a way out for negotiations. However, it is noted that Trump has not yet decided which scenario he will choose. A U.S. Navy destroyer docked at Israel's Red Sea port of Eilat on Friday, according to images aired on television. According to Associated Press, footage aired by Israel's Channel 12 News showed the USS Delbert D. Black moored at the port earlier in the day, with dozens of sailors visible on the deck of the Florida-based vessel. An Israeli military official said the ship's arrival was routine, although it comes at a time of heightened tensions in the region as Iran violently cracks down on protesters. It remains unclear what U.S. President Donald Trump will decide about using force against Iran, though he has threatened to use it in response to the killing of peaceful demonstrators and over possible mass executions. At least 6,373 people have been killed in the protests, activists said. Trump also indicated Wednesday that he wants movement toward a deal that his administration has been seeking with Tehran over its nuclear program. Ukrainian troops have obliterated the gathering point of Russian troops in the front line in another successful operation. Artillerymen of the Rim Artillery Battalion of the 225th Separate Assault Regiment waited until a sufficient number of Russian troops had gathered inside the building and then fired 155mm artillery at the target. Video footage shared in social media shows precision strikes targeting the building where Russians were hiding. The remaining members of the Russian group managed to escape from the area and advance a bit further. However, they were also soon eliminated by the 3rd Assault Battalion of the 225th Separate Assault Regiment, and other units of the defense forces. It should be noted that the situation remains tense along the Ukraine frontline with fierce fighting in Pokrovsk and Huliapol regions. Large numbers of Russian troops and equipment still press against Ukrainian defenses, though advances have been slow and ground gains limited compared with the scale of fighting. The General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported 180 combat clashes over the past day. According to the General Staff's report on January 29, in the northern Slobozhenskaya and Kursk directions, Russian forces carried out 7 assault attempts and conducted 37 shelling strikes, including 2 using multiple launch rocket systems. In the southern Slobozhenskaya direction, Russian troops launched 11 attacks near Vovchansk, Staritsya, and Taik, as well as advancing toward Ternova, Hravsk, Vovchansky Kuturi, Kryharivka, and Kolodyazin.